Right, so I have travelled 200 miles in my new BMW M5 competition, but I keep getting asked the same old questions. Draggy times, how quickly does it do 20 to 70 mile an hour? Is there anything you dislike about it? Do you like it better than your M4 CS? Problems, that's something we need to talk about. What problems have I had with it? And then finally, am I going to modify it? Or am I even keeping it? Or am I selling it? I'm going to answer all of them questions in this video. Let's get on it. Right, so we are at Binker today, and yeah, it's been a busy weekend. Today is a Monday in my life. You can see there's lots of space here at Binker at the minute because the weekend's just gone and we sold absolutely loads over the weekend, and it looks like we've got some more going out now. So yeah, busy weekend, busy time in the car trades. And today's video is of course talking about the M5 competition, a new sort of addition to my life. Can this fella get out? Can you get through here? Is that all right? Is he alright? Yeah, go for it, mate, go for it. That's it, yeah. Cheers, mate. Perfect. Yeah, the M5 competition. So I've been daily driving it, and if we look at the amount of miles I've travelled in it, quickly hop in on the inside, turn the tunes down. We have travelled 202 miles, and I've probably done a little bit more than that, but we can talk about fuel economy as well in a sec. So 200, just over 200 miles. Since I've owned it. I've had it for about, what, 2 weeks now. First thing I got done with it when I bought it was the front bumper was covered in stone chips. I mentioned that in the first video. I booked it in, got it painted, so it spent a few days at the paint shop just getting that done. So that's just freshened up the front end a little bit. I also got the front grills repainted in gloss black as well. Just a few chips on there. I just wanted to get them done as well, just to complete. Like, the car's mint. The car is absolutely mint. It's done 40,000 miles, and for a 40,000 mile car, although that is quite low mileage, it's travelled a lot of distance, but for the mileage it's very, very clean, and that was the only thing that let it down. So I wanted to get them done regardless to whether I was keeping it or selling it, and yeah, it's just freshened up the car nicely. Now let's quickly talk about the M4 CS. It's parked here. We actually cleaned it last night. It rained last night, so I'm going to give it a wipe down shortly, and I'm going to photograph that car now because it is going up for sale. Very simple. It's got to go. I can't keep both cars, and I am going to be hanging on to the M5 competition. Now, the M4, I've obviously got my own private plate. I never added my private plate to this car because it meant I would have had to add an owner to the car, and I just never really wanted to do that because I was a little bit unsure about the car. Although it's an amazing car, it's a beautiful thing, amazing thing to drive, definitely more of a driver's car than the M5, because it ain't got back doors. It sort of lacks a little bit of luxury over the M5. Kind of knew it weren't going to stay forever, so I never added my private plate to it. So that is still in my trade name, and the plan for that car today is I'm going to get photos of it, get it advertised, get it up for sale. So that leaves me with the M5, right? Do I prefer the M5 over the M4 CS? Well, exactly like I just explained, this car serves a different purpose to the M5, and the purpose that I need out of a car, the M5 just does a better job for me. And I do love a car with luxury. Like, my missus daily drives a Range Rover Sport Autobiography, and I use that car a lot myself. And sometimes I'd get in that car and then get out of it and jump in the M4, and I think, God, this car just, it's amazing. Obviously it's amazing, it's a lovely thing, it's fresh as well, it's only done 8,000 miles, but it just doesn't have the same luxury as some of these sort of higher end cars. This thing literally feels like a 7 Series with an M badge, and part of me kind of dislikes that. You know, you sort of think, well, is it a bit of a boat? Does it even deserve to have an M badge? But then when you drive it, you think, this thing's amazing, man. It's got the luxury of a 7 Series, and it's got the performance of a proper M car. So one thing I mentioned in the previous video as well was I wanted to get these tail tips sort of pushed back a little bit. They've got little Allen key bolts underneath. I actually attempted to do that myself because I think they're sitting a little bit too proud. If we go back over to the M4, you'll see that that's got the same exhaust tips on that, but they sort of sit quite snugly under the diffuser, and I much prefer that. But I did try and do that with these ones, and they just didn't slide back. It's as far back as they go, so I definitely want to get that looked at. It's bugging the hell out of me. And the plate as well, again, this car is currently in my trade name, meaning you can't actually retain a private plate whilst it's in trade name, But I have just gone online and I have transferred this into my personal name, meaning I can retain that plate and I can add my own private plate to it. So expect a private plate on this car at some point soon, all right? So that kind of answers that. That plate's gonna come off it. The original 68 plate will go on it for a few days, and then I'll add my own private plate. So let's quickly hop on the inside. Is there anything I dislike about this car? That's something I keep getting asked. Calvin, is there anything you dislike about it? Honestly, nah, I don't think there is anything I dislike about it. I just seem to, it does it all. It's a very good all-rounder. Like I say, it's got the performance, it's got the looks, and well, hopefully it retains its value for the period that I own it as well. So what else was I going to say? Modifications, that's something that I do keep getting asked. So the answer is I am not selling it, like I just said. I've always got to have my own daily car. I mean, I can just drive stock, that is an option, but it's kind of a bit of a pain in the arse driving stock, although this is technically a bit of stock and it will go up for sale at some point very soon. My priority, as I always say, is the car trade. I've actually got someone who wants to buy it, but I don't need to rush to sell this car, so I will run around in it and daily drive it for the time being, and at some point soon I will put it up for sale. Modifications wise, I don't really want to do anything to it. I kind of thought about going to stage 2 on the tune. It's currently a stage 1 remat, but stage 2 means you have to decat the car. You get all that blood. I don't know, maybe I'm getting a bit old, M5 life, I don't know, but I'm quite happy with it just as it is. The only thing that I kind of feel like could do with being done is wheel spacers, because them front wheels certainly are sitting quite far under the arch, and the back ones ain't so bad, but a set of wheel spacers I think really set a car up nicely. And if you remember, I did actually do that on my M4, and you can just see it just sits really nice against the arches there. So yeah, I think that's something I will definitely want to do to the M5. But beyond that, honestly, I think it might ruin the car, man. You lot know when I had my Audi RS6, I kind of modded that, I'd done everything I wanted to do to it. I went to town in it, done hybrid turbos, meth injection, and then when I got the car back, don't get me wrong, it was amazing. Like, it was seriously quick, massive power, 820 brake horsepower, which is 100 horsepower more than this car. But I just didn't like it. I felt like it ruined the car, and I don't want to make that mistake with this car. So that kind of answers that question as well. The MOT, let's quickly talk about that. Yeah, so it has just had its first MOT. Obviously the car is just turned 3 years old. It actually ran out without me even noticing, and whilst it was at the body shop, the guys were like, Cal, the car's got no MOT, do you want us to MOT it for you? So I got it MOT'd and it passed, no advisories, absolutely no faults whatsoever, so that's really good. So it does sort of, that reassures you know, when you get your car MOT and it's, you know, we've held at it and it fails on loads of stuff, and you're like, you kind of lose heart in that car a little bit. So it's quite nice, it just passed and it's got no issues. I think what we'll do now is we need to drive it, don't we? Because I want to talk to you about my sort of experience with daily driving this car. I want to talk about fuel economy, and I do want to do draggy times as well, because I keep getting asked about that, and well, I'm hoping it's going to be right near the top of the draggy leaderboard, so we'll do that as well. All right, let's head out. So before we drive out, I will put this car in M1 mode. I've got it all set up to how I want it. I actually always drive this car in like the normal comfort mode. I never put it in M1 mode, which is really strange, because in every other car I always do. Like in the M4, I would always put it in the M mode, because I kind of like to get the most out of a car. But with this, because it's so powerful, there's so much power throughout the whole rev range, you kind of don't really need to put it in sports mode. It's just in sports mode, or seemingly in sports mode, all the bloody while. But I suppose whilst it's in M1 mode, you do get a bit more exhaust note. So put it in that mode for this video, yeah. The way this thing just skips off, it's proper quick. Yeah, you get a few noises between the gears. Let me quickly talk about the gearbox as well, because it's something that gets spoken about a lot, or asked about a lot, because obviously it's a ZF gearbox, whereas the M4 has got a dual clutch gearbox. I always find with dual clutch gearboxes, they're a bit slow to engage gears, whereas these feel like a bit more solid, a bit more like they can tolerate more power. I don't know how true that is, but then I do know that these do run sort of up to 800 brake on stock gearbox. So the gearbox does feel very sort of solid. The gear changes are very, very quick. This is the bumpy road, and yeah, so no complaints there from the gearbox. A couple of things that I have had done to this car that I didn't mention is, one, my hashtag on its stickers on the windows. That's a standard first mod for me with every car that I get. And I did also get the wing mirror caps painted. They're already in gloss black, but I just got them repainted again because they had a few little chips on them. So I've just done that to tidy the car up a little bit. But I don't know if you can feel like the way that this is responding. It's really difficult to deliver that through a video, but the way that the power is just it just lights up instantly, man. It's just so responsive. It's unbelievable just how quick this car is overall. It's brilliant. So problems, let's talk about problems now. Yeah, unfortunately guys, this car hasn't actually had any problems. Like, I've only done 200 miles in it, so you probably wouldn't expect it to have any problems. But bad news is good news on social media. When things go wrong, they seem to go right views wise, but there is no problems with this car. It's had no problems, and touch wood, it doesn't have any problems. We'll see, yeah, fingers crossed it's all right. So yeah, sorry for those that were looking for bad news. There actually ain't any bad news. I really like it, and it has no problems. What else do we want to talk about? Draggy times. We need to do draggy times, don't we? So I'll quickly stick down the roof and we'll do that now, yeah? So the first one is uphill, so this ain't really a great one to go by, but we'll do it anyway. 3 seconds is going to be amazing. It will definitely do it in, like, when I say 3 seconds, in the freeze. Sub freeze will be amazing, but I don't think it will do sub freeze. But I do want it to be somewhere near the very top of the leaderboard. All right, so that was an uphill run. Quick glimpse down at the result, and it was okay. It was okay. I'll do a few more, right? I'll try it in manual mode this time. Bloody always stop start. Try it in manual mode, because I do find with my M4 in auto mode, it used to change a bit late, meaning you'd lose a bit of power right at the top end of each gear. So I changed a bit earlier, then that might help make it a bit quicker. I'll do a few more off cam and I'll come back to you in a second and let you know how it got on, alright? Funny that when you drive these types of cars, they're just so big and fat and luxurious. Like I said, it is literally like a 7 Series, and it performs the way it performs. It's kind of a weird combination, but it's a dream combination at the same time. So yeah, just done draggy times. The first run I done was the uphill run. That done it in 3.47 seconds. So this is 20 to 70 mile an hour draggy times for those that are new to my channel. I don't do anything else really, because it's just I think it's quite a good indicator of how fast a car is, especially like talking legal terms, 20 to 70 mile an hour. You don't have to really battle for traction at 20 mile an hour, and 70 is obviously the speed limit on certain roads here in the UK, alright? So yeah, first one was 3.47 seconds, and the next one after that, I've done multiple runs, and the quickest time I've done it in was 3.15 seconds. So that was an amazing time. That puts it second place on my draggy leaderboard. This is a stage 1 tuned car, so it's literally just a remap, which is about 100 horsepower over stock, 720 brake horsepower now. Stock power is about 620, so it's just right. Like, for daily driving, what's really nice about this car is if I kick it back into normal mode, there we go, calms the gears down a little bit, it just calms the whole car down a bit, but it doesn't really make it sluggish or anything whatsoever. Give this car 10 or 20% throttle and it's just so boosty and so strong low end, which is really, really nice. To daily drive it, it's just nice power delivery everywhere whenever you want it. So I do like that a lot about this car. So 3.15 seconds, 20 to 70 mile an hour, amazing times. If you want to see me do 100 to 200 kilometers, because I know that's a bit of an industry standard like in the car world, I will do that at a later date. I'll probably put that on my Instagram story or something like that, just to show you how this compares to my M4 CS. But overall, it does feel a lot quicker than that car. That's a stage 1 tune car as well, and that's about 500 brake horsepower. Big difference in power. There's also quite a big difference in weight, all right? And for a big fat family saloon, like I keep saying, it's amazing, man, to have that performance. It's not massively far behind my Audi R8 V10 Plus, which was a mega quick car, but the beauty of this car is I can carry luggage, I can carry people, and I can travel in comfort. So I think that pretty much summarizes the bit. The one thing I have not yet spoken about is fuel economy. So we've done just over 200 miles out of a full tank. So I did fill the tank up when I bought the car, and we've got about a quarter of a tank left, and that's how many miles I've done so far on a full tank. Now this tank is bigger than the tank that's on my M4. My M4 would do 200 miles on a full tank as well, but we've done 200 miles on the full tank so far, and we've got about a quarter of a tank left. So fuel economy wise, it's actually showing 18 mpg on the computer as well, which is exactly what my M4 would do if you absolutely grannied it. So it's actually the same, if not maybe better on fuel somehow than the M4. I don't know how that even works out, but something I am really pleased about. I'll be honest, like, I don't really care about fuel economy, because it kind of, you've got to accept it when you're driving a big fat tuned, big power car, but it is quite nice. It seems to be a bit better on fuel than I expected it would be. I think out of a full tank, I reckon I might get maybe 240 miles, maybe as much as 250 miles out of all the modified cars that I've had. It's actually marginally better than all of them. So yeah, really pleased about that. And I'm going to turn right up here. And then finally, I suppose to summarise the car, yeah, I do really like it. What else could I buy if I was to sell this car? I suppose the obvious thing to go for would be an E63 AMG, which I have looked at in depth, but I've got no urge to buy one. Another car is quite comparable is an Audi RS6. I wouldn't want the earlier car because I've obviously had one before. I have looked at a facelift, but a facelift one like 2015 onwards, but I think they look a bit dated on the interior. You then look at the newer shape cars, like the most recent one, and they are mega money. So no, I don't think I'm going to be rushing to change it. I've got no real urge to buy an E63 at the minute. I don't know why that feeling's just completely gone. And yeah, I am really liking this car. So from a content point of view, it's boring, because keeping one car, I always say it, keeping cars is boring, but you know what? I want to be boring because I really like my M5, alright? So it's going to be hanging around. Modifications wise, like I said earlier, I don't plan on doing much. I'm going to do put a private plate on it at some point soon. Again, if you want to check out my Instagram, I'll post images of my private plate. That's if I haven't done it already by the time this video goes live. And wheel spacers. I don't know how many things I've spoken about. Forgot how many fingers I'm going to be counting. But yeah, plates, wheel spacers. No more tuning, can't be bothered with none of that. Again, from a content point of view, that is boring, but I don't care. I want to love my car, I want to continue to enjoy it, and yeah, I'm quite happy with it, just as it is, all right? I think that's everything. If that isn't everything, if I've somehow forgotten something, I will add it in now. But if that is everything, then I'm going to say bye now. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you liked this video. Do me a favour, if you did like this video, hit the like button, hit subscribe for a new video every Wednesday and Sunday at 6 o'clock. And if you're on Instagram, give me a follow on Instagram at Calvin's Car Diary. And I'll see you in the next video, alright? Bye. In the next episode of Diary of a Car Trader, I bought a Mercedes. Find out what it is on Sunday at 6 o'clock. I'll see you then.